Hello and welcome. Let me ask you something. Have you ever stood in the dairy aisle at the grocery store, looked at a simple carton of eggs, and felt a little confused? For decades, we were told they were a one-way ticket to heart trouble, a forbidden food, especially for those of us watching our cholesterol. But then you hear whispers, headlines, and maybe even your own doctor saying they're a superfood. It's enough to make your head spin, isn't it? What if I told you that major health institutions, the ones we trust like the American Heart Association and the Mayo Clinic, have completely changed their tune on eggs? What if the very food we were taught to fear might actually hold some of the keys to protecting our brains, strengthening our bones, and even preserving our eyesight as we get older? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what doctors and nutritionists now know about this incredible, everyday food. Information that often gets lost in those confusing and contradictory headlines. And if you've been telling yourself, well, feeling a little weaker or more forgetful is just what getting older feels like, I'm here today to gently challenge that idea. In the next 25 minutes, we are going on a journey to rediscover the humble egg. We'll unpack 7 incredible science-backed benefits that are especially important for those of us over 60. And I promise you, by the end of this, you'll look at that carton in your fridge in a whole new and much more confident light. The problem we're tackling today is simple. There's too much noise. Decades of shifting advice and scary warnings have made many of us wary of one of nature's most affordable and nutrient-packed foods. Our ambitious goal today is to cut through that noise, replace old fears with new facts, and give you the confidence to make powerful, informed choices for your own health and your own independence. Now, we won't be relying on old wives' tales or hearsay. Everything we're going to discuss is grounded in solid research from trusted American and international institutions. We'll be drawing on findings and guidelines from the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins Medicine, large-scale studies published in respected journals like Nutrients, and even guidance from the American Heart Association. To make this all crystal clear, we're going to count down the top 7 health benefits of eggs for seniors. We'll start with number 7 and work our way down to the most surprising and important benefit at number 1. For each point, we'll talk about why it works, the simple science behind it, and a clear, practical action step you can take away. And you'll definitely want to stick around for benefit number 2. It's all about protecting your sharpest and most valuable asset, your mind. And number 1, well, that's the one that'll finally put to rest a myth that has been causing unnecessary worry and confusion for the better part of 50 years. Let's begin. All right, let's kick off our countdown with number 7. Eggs are a powerful, natural tool for helping you reach and maintain a healthy weight without feeling deprived. Now, we all know that as we get older, our metabolism can slow down, and keeping extra pounds off can feel like an uphill battle. But what if I told you that the secret isn't just about willpower, but about biology? It's about managing your body's hunger signals, and that's where eggs truly shine. The reason is a simple concept called satiety, which is just the feeling of fullness and satisfaction after a meal. Studies have shown that out of the 3 main types of nutrients, carbohydrates, fats, and protein is by far the most satiating. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine your hunger is like a light switch. A breakfast high in simple carbohydrates, like a plain bagel or a sugary cereal, can turn that hunger switch back on surprisingly quickly. You eat, you feel full for a little while, and then, bam, you're hungry again. The high-quality protein in an egg works more like a dimmer switch. It slowly and steadily dials down your hunger and keeps it low for hours. The science backs this up. Studies have found that eating eggs for breakfast can suppress the hunger hormone ghrelin, leading people to naturally eat fewer calories at their next meal, and even over the entire next 24 hours. I remember talking to a friend of mine, Linda, who was so frustrated. She'd have a light breakfast of toast and jam, but by 10 o'clock in the morning, she was absolutely ravenous and reaching for the cookie jar. She decided to switch to 2 scrambled eggs in the morning. The calories were about the same, but she told me the difference was like night and day. She wasn't white-knuckling it until lunchtime anymore. That powerful mid-morning snack craving just vanished. She felt in control, not deprived. So your action step here is to try the Egg Breakfast Challenge for just 1 week. Instead of your usual cereal, muffin, or toast, have 2 eggs prepared in a healthy way, boiled, poached, or scrambled with just a little olive oil. Don't change anything else. Just pay attention to how you feel at 10 or 11 a.m. You might be very surprised by the difference. Now, it's important to mention, of course, that healthy weight management is about your entire diet and lifestyle. If you're experiencing significant or unexplained weight gain or loss, or if you have a condition like diabetes, it's always best to work with your doctor or a registered dietitian to create a plan that's specifically tailored to you. So we've covered how eggs can help manage your appetite. But what about managing your energy levels to get through the day feeling strong? That brings us directly to benefit number 6. Coming in at number 6 on our countdown, eggs are a fantastic source of lasting, steady energy to help you fight that all-too-common afternoon fatigue. We often think of energy coming from calories, and that's true. But the real story is about how efficiently your body converts the food you eat into usable fuel. That critical job is performed by a group of nutrients called B vitamins. And it turns out eggs are absolutely packed with them, especially vitamin B12 and vitamin B2, also known as riboflavin. In fact, a serving of 2 eggs can provide a huge portion of your daily needs for these essential vitamins. Here's a helpful analogy. Think of your body's trillions of cells as tiny little engines. The food you eat is the gasoline, but the B vitamins are the spark plugs. Without good spark plugs, all the gasoline in the world is useless. My neighbor Frank, a man in his late 70s, used to hit a brick wall every single day around 2 p.m. He had a great phrase for it. He'd say his get up and go got up and went. He finally mentioned this to his doctor, who ran some simple blood tests and found that Frank was, like many older adults, low in vitamin B12. One of the very first dietary suggestions his doctor made was to include more B12-rich foods, like eggs, in his diet. It wasn't an overnight miracle, but over the course of a few weeks, Frank told me that 2 p.m. slump just wasn't hitting him nearly as hard. He felt more even-keeled throughout the day. Your action step here is a simple shift in mindset. If you often feel tired, start thinking about the nutritional content of your meals, not just the calories. An easy way to start is to see an egg not just as a source of protein, but as a direct deposit into your energy account for the day. Now, this is a very important point. While a better diet can certainly help, persistent and debilitating fatigue can be a sign of many underlying issues. Vitamin B12 deficiency, in particular, is quite common in older adults and can cause serious symptoms beyond just tiredness, including weakness, memory problems, confusion, and even nerve issues like a persistent tingling or numbness in your hands or feet. If you're experiencing extreme tiredness that isn't helped by a good night's sleep, that is absolutely a sign to schedule a visit with your doctor. They can easily test your B12 levels and help you figure out what's really going on. Feeling more energetic helps you stay active, and staying active is absolutely crucial for our next point. let's talk about keeping your body's framework strong and resilient. That leads us directly to benefit number 5. At number 5, we're talking about the very structure that holds you up and keeps you moving with confidence, your bones. And believe it or not, eggs play a surprising and crucial role in maintaining bone strength and helping to fight off osteoporosis. First, let's be clear about the challenge we're facing. Osteoporosis, which is the thinning and weakening of our bones, is a major health risk as we age. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 20% of women and over 4% of men over the age of 50 have osteoporosis, and many more have low bone mass, which is a precursor to the condition. So where do eggs fit in? Well, it's not just about calcium. Healthy bone is built through a beautiful synergy, and eggs provide two of the most critical ingredients: high-quality protein and vitamin D. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're building a strong brick wall. The protein you eat is like the mortar that holds all the bricks together, creating a tough, flexible scaffold. Without good mortar, the wall would be weak and brittle. The calcium you get from your diet, from foods like dairy and leafy greens, are the bricks themselves. But here's the key. Vitamin D is the foreman on the job site. It's the foreman's job to tell your body to absorb the calcium from your food and then direct the workers to put those bricks into the wall. Without the foreman, without vitamin D, all that calcium just sits in a pile, unused. You need the mortar, the bricks, and the foreman to build a strong wall. Eggs provide both the high-quality protein for the mortar and the vitamin D foreman. This is especially important because vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common among seniors, partly because our skin becomes less efficient at making it from sunlight as we age. Eggs are one of the very few natural food sources of vitamin D, making them a real treasure for bone health. A woman in my community, Mary, was recently diagnosed with osteopenia, which is that intermediate stage of bone loss. Her doctor, of course, told her to make sure she was getting enough calcium, but he also stressed the critical importance of vitamin D. She was genuinely surprised and delighted to learn that her regular morning eggs were actually helping her body use the calcium she was so carefully trying to get. It made her feel like her diet was actively working in partnership with her supplements to protect her future. Your action step is to start thinking of eggs as your vitamin D partner. If you're taking a calcium supplement or making an effort to eat calcium-rich foods, including eggs in your diet helps ensure that all that good calcium gets to where it needs to go, into your bones. It's a simple way to make your efforts much more effective. Now for the red flags. Osteoporosis is often called a silent disease because you can't feel your bones getting weaker. However, there are warning signs that absolutely warrant a conversation with your doctor. These include a noticeable loss of height over time, a new stooped or hunched posture, sudden back pain without a clear cause, or of course, a bone that breaks much more easily than you'd expect. If you're a woman over 65 or a man with significant risk factors, it's very wise to ask your doctor about getting a bone density scan. Strong bones are absolutely critical for keeping you on your feet and living independently. But you also need to be able to see where you're going. And that brings us to one of the most amazing benefits of eggs, coming in at number 4. Okay, let's just pause and take a quick breath. We are more than halfway through our countdown, and we've already covered some incredible ground. So far, we've uncovered that eggs are a powerful tool for number 7, managing your weight by keeping you feeling full and satisfied. For number 6, fueling your energy with those essential B vitamins. And for number 5, building stronger bones with that perfect 1-2 punch of protein and vitamin D. The common thread running through all of these benefits is that they aren't about complicated, expensive supplements or strange diets. We're talking about small, powerful choices you can make with an everyday food that can have a big, positive impact on your daily life and your long-term independence. Are you ready for the top 4? Because this is where we get into the real game changers for protecting your health as you age. And by the way, if you're finding this information helpful and empowering, do me a quick favor and just tap that like button right below the video. It really does help our channel, and it tells YouTube that this is the kind of valuable content that our community wants to see. Thank you so much for that. All right, coming in at number 4 is a big one, and it's something we all want to protect. Eggs are one of the very best foods you can eat to defend your precious eyesight against common age-related diseases. The magic here comes from 2 powerful antioxidants with fancy names, lutein and zeaxanthin. These nutrients are found in high concentrations in the yolk of an egg, which is what gives it that rich yellow color. Now, here's what makes them so special. When you eat them, your body is smart. It transports these antioxidants directly to your eyes, where they accumulate in the macula of your retina. The macula is the tiny central part of your retina that's responsible for your sharp, detailed, straight-ahead vision. The vision you use to read a newspaper, to drive a car, and to recognize the faces of your loved ones. The best way to think about lutein and zeaxanthin is as your body's own pair of internal sunglasses. They literally form a protective pigment layer over the macula that filters out harmful, high-energy blue light from the sun and from all the screens we look at these days. This shield helps protect the delicate light-sensing cells of your retina from the kind of damage that can lead to serious problems over time. This protective effect is absolutely crucial for fighting against 2 of the biggest threats to our vision as we age: age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, and cataracts. AMD is the leading cause of vision loss in older adults, and according to the CDC, it affects nearly 20 million Americans over the age of 40 in some form. I have an uncle, a wonderful man named George, who was diagnosed a few years ago with the early stages of dry AMD. His ophthalmologist gave him a little checkerboard pattern called an Amsler grid to put on his fridge so he could check for changes in his vision every day. But the doctor also gave him a list of foods to eat more of. And right at the very top of that list were eggs and dark leafy greens. George told me it made him feel like he wasn't just a victim of this disease. So the action step here is wonderfully simple. Eat the whole egg. All of that eye-protecting goodness, the lutein and the zeaxanthin, is found in the yolk. If you really want to create an eye health super meal, try making an omelet or scramble and toss in a big handful of spinach or kale. You'll be giving your eyes an even bigger boost of these amazing nutrients. For our red flags, it is absolutely critical to have regular, comprehensive eye exams, especially as we get older. But if you notice any changes in your vision, please don't wait for your next appointment. Key red flags for macular degeneration include seeing straight lines that suddenly appear wavy or crooked, noticing a blurry or even blank spot in your central vision, or colors seeming dull or faded. For cataracts, you might notice generally cloudy or blurry vision, having more difficulty seeing at night or seeing halos around lights. If you experience any of these symptoms, it's time to call your eye doctor right away. Seeing the world clearly is one part of navigating it with confidence, but having the physical strength to do so is just as important. And that brings us to the powerhouse benefit at number 3. At number 3, we're tackling a challenge that affects every single one of us as we get older: the gradual loss of muscle. Eggs are a first-class, affordable, and easy-to-eat defense against the weakening that can slowly rob us of our strength, our balance, and our independence. The scientific name for this condition is sarcopenia. It's a fancy word, but it just means the natural, age-related loss of muscle mass and function. Sarcopenia is the reason why things that used to be effortless, like getting up out of a comfortable armchair, carrying a heavy bag of groceries, or lifting a grandchild, can start to feel like a major physical effort. But this is not a battle we have to lose. The number one weapon in our arsenal against sarcopenia is getting enough high-quality protein in our diet. And here's a surprising fact. As we age, our bodies actually become less efficient at using protein to build muscle. This means we need more protein than younger adults do, about 25% more, according to some studies, just to maintain the muscle we have. Let's use another analogy. Think of your muscles like a brick wall that's constantly being weathered by wind and rain. Every single day, a few bricks naturally crumble and fall out. This is muscle breakdown. When you're young, you have a whole crew of expert bricklayers on standby, and they replace those bricks instantly. As you get older, that crew gets a little smaller and a little slower. To keep that wall strong and solid, you have to make sure your crew has a steady supply of top-quality bricks. The protein in your diet provides those bricks, and the protein in eggs is considered high-quality or complete because it contains all 9 of the essential amino acids our bodies can't make on their own. This includes a superstar amino acid called leucine, which acts like a foreman for your muscle-building crew, specifically telling them to get to work. My own father, a very proud and active man, started to notice his golf swing wasn't as powerful, and he was getting tired more quickly on the course. He just chalked it up to getting old. But his doctor explained the concept of sarcopenia to him and really emphasized the importance of protein at every meal. Dad started making a conscious effort, and often that included having a hard-boiled egg as an afternoon snack. He told me, "Look, I'm not going to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I feel more solid. I feel like I have a foundation under me again." And that's really what this is all about, feeling solid and capable in your own body. So your action step is to focus on spreading your protein intake throughout the day. Many of us tend to have a very protein-heavy dinner, but not much earlier in the day. A better strategy for muscle maintenance is to aim for about 25 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. A simple 2-egg omelet will give you around 12 to 13 grams of high-quality protein, which is a fantastic start to meeting that goal and keeping your muscle-building engine humming all day long. And the red flags to watch for? While some gradual loss of strength is a normal part of aging, a rapid decline in your strength, new difficulties with your balance, or experiencing frequent falls are serious warning signs. These are signs that sarcopenia may be impacting your safety and your independence, and they are a very important reason to speak with your healthcare provider. They can assess your strength and help you create a plan that includes not just nutrition, but also the right kind of strength-building exercises. Maintaining your physical strength is one great pillar of independence, but the other, equally important pillar is maintaining your mental sharpness. Let's move on to the incredible benefit waiting for us at number 2. We've now arrived at number 2, and frankly, this is one of the most exciting and important areas of modern nutritional research. Eggs are a true brain food that can play a significant role in protecting your memory and keeping your mind sharp as you age. The hero of this story is a nutrient called choline. You may not have heard much about it, but it's an essential nutrient, often grouped with the B vitamins, that is absolutely critical for the health and function of your brain. And here's the startling fact. Researchers estimate that up to 90% of Americans do not get the recommended amount of choline in their diet. So what does choline do? Its main job in the brain is to be the primary building block for a vital neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. Think of it this way. Your memories, your thoughts, and your ideas are like millions of messages being sent between brain cells every second. Acetylcholine is the messenger that carries those signals. If you don't have enough messengers, or if they're slow, communication in your brain gets fuzzy. Thoughts can get lost halfway through, and memories become much harder to retrieve. Choline is the raw material your brain absolutely must have to build a fast, efficient, and reliable team of messengers. And the science on this is becoming clearer every year. Multiple studies have shown a direct link between a higher intake of choline and better cognitive performance in older adults. One study even found that a moderate intake of choline was associated with a slower rate of memory decline later in life. And here's the wonderful news. Eggs are one of the richest and most accessible dietary sources of choline. Just 2 large eggs can provide more than half of your daily recommended intake. We all have those senior moments, right? You walk into a room and completely forget why you're there, or a familiar name is right on the tip of your tongue but just won't come out. A woman I know started reading about choline and made a conscious effort to include eggs in her breakfast a few times a week. She told me, "I haven't suddenly become a contestant on Jeopardy, but I just feel clearer." The words seem to come a little bit easier. It's about giving your brain the fundamental fuel it needs to do its job well. The action step here is an easy one, but it's crucial. To get this amazing brain-boosting benefit, you have to eat the yolk. Just like with those eye-protecting nutrients, the choline is concentrated in the rich, yellow yolk of the egg. Making whole eggs a regular part of your diet is one of the simplest and most effective things you can do to ensure you're not part of that 90% who are missing out on this vital brain nutrient. Now for the red flags. It is so important to distinguish between normal, age-related forgetfulness and more serious memory issues. Misplacing your keys or forgetting an acquaintance's name from time to time is one thing. But if you or a loved one is experiencing memory loss that disrupts daily life, like forgetting important events or asking the same questions over and over, or is having new trouble with problem solving, confusion with time or place, or difficulty with familiar tasks like cooking a recipe you've made 100 times, these are not a normal part of aging. These are serious red flags that need to be discussed with a doctor right away. We've covered so much incredible ground. Stronger bones, sharper eyes, a clearer mind, and a healthier, more energetic body. But there is one big, looming question we still need to answer. It's the question that might have made you hesitate to eat eggs in the first place, and it's the elephant that has been in the room for half a century. That brings us to our number one benefit, and it's the most important one of all. And here we are, at number 1. The single most important reason to feel good about welcoming eggs back onto your plate is this. The overwhelming body of modern science shows that eating eggs, for most healthy people, is perfectly safe for your heart, and may even be beneficial. Let's be direct and acknowledge the history. For decades, we were told a simple and frankly scary story. Eggs contain a lot of dietary cholesterol. Cholesterol in your blood clogs your arteries. Therefore, eating eggs is bad for your heart. On the surface, it seemed to make sense. But it turns out the way our bodies work is a lot more sophisticated than that. And that simple story is largely wrong. Here's what leading health institutions like the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins now tell us. For the majority of people, the cholesterol you eat in your food has a much smaller effect on the level of cholesterol in your blood than we once believed. What is far more impactful on your bad cholesterol levels are the amounts of saturated and trans fats you consume. Let's use one last analogy. Imagine your body has its own cholesterol factory. That's your liver. Every day, this factory is busy producing most of the cholesterol that circulates in your system. When you eat a food that contains cholesterol, like an egg, your body's factory is smart. It gets the message and simply dials down its own production to keep things in balance. The real problem arises when you eat a lot of foods high in saturated and trans fats, things like bacon, sausage, fried foods, and commercial pastries. Those fats don't just add cholesterol. This new understanding has led to a complete shift in dietary recommendations. The American Heart Association's current advice states that for healthy older adults, eating up to 2 eggs per day is perfectly acceptable within a heart-healthy diet. And it gets even better. A major 2025 study published in the journal Nutrients that followed over 8,700 older adults found that consuming 1 to 6 eggs per week was associated with a stunning 29% lower risk of death from cardiovascular disease compared to those who rarely ate eggs. I'll use a personal story here. My own grandfather absolutely loved a soft-boiled egg for his breakfast. But in the 1980s, at the height of the cholesterol scare, his doctor told him to stop. He switched to plain toast and was miserable about it. He missed that simple, nourishing pleasure for years. If he were alive today, I would print out the latest guidelines from the Mayo Clinic, hand them to him, and say, "Grandpa, enjoy your egg." This is about reclaiming a simple, healthy joy that was taken away by outdated science. So, your final action step is to let go of the fear and focus on the big picture. Enjoy your eggs, but be mindful of how you prepare them and what you serve alongside them. A poached or boiled egg served on a piece of whole wheat toast with a side of sliced avocado is a world apart from a heart health perspective, from 2 eggs fried in butter next to a pile of bacon and greasy hash browns. And now for the final and very crucial red flag. The science we've discussed is clear for most healthy people. However, the advice can and should be more nuanced for individuals with certain pre-existing conditions. If you have a history of very high cholesterol, have been diagnosed with heart disease, or especially if you have type 2 diabetes, it is very important that you talk with your doctor about what level of egg consumption is right for you. They know your personal health history and can give you the safest, most personalized advice. And speaking of talking to your doctor, that's a perfect time for a quick but very important reminder. I am an expert scriptwriter and researcher, but I am not a doctor, and this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not, and should not be considered, a substitute for professional medical advice from your own physician. Please, always consult your personal healthcare provider for any questions or concerns you have about your health and your diet. Now that we've hopefully put those old fears to rest, let's talk about the joy. One of the best things about eggs is that they are affordable, versatile, and easy to prepare, which is a huge bonus when we want to eat healthy without a lot of fuss. Here are a few simple ideas. First, the perfect snack. Make a batch of hard-boiled eggs at the start of the week. Keep them in the fridge for a perfect, protein-packed snack that's ready to go anytime you feel peckish. Second, the classic scramble. Gently scramble 2 eggs with a big handful of fresh spinach. You'll get the protein, the B vitamins, the choline, and an extra boost of those eye-protecting nutrients. Third, the elegant poach. Poach an egg and serve it on top of a piece of whole grain toast with a few slices of avocado. It feels gourmet, but it's incredibly simple and wonderfully heart-healthy. And finally, the make-ahead muffin. Try making egg muffins. Just whisk some eggs with your favorite chopped vegetables, like bell peppers and onions. Pour the mixture into a muffin tin and bake. They're like little individual omelets you can store in the fridge for a quick breakfast on busy mornings. So as we've seen together today, the humble, everyday egg is so much more than just a quick breakfast. It is a true nutritional powerhouse. It's a food that can help you manage your weight, boost your daily energy, strengthen your bones, protect your vision, maintain your muscle strength, and sharpen your mind. It is a perfect example of how small, simple, and affordable choices can add up to make a huge difference in our health and our quality of life. The most important message I want you to take away from our time together today is this: you are in the driver's seat of your own health. You have the power to ask questions, to seek out good information, and to make daily choices that help you live a stronger, more vibrant, and more independent life. Letting go of old, outdated fears and embracing a simple, nourishing, and delicious food like the egg is a wonderful and empowering step on that journey. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these 7 benefits was the biggest surprise or aha moment for you? Was it the real story about cholesterol, the brain-boosting power of choline, or maybe the internal sunglasses for your eyes? Please share your thoughts in the comments section down below. I truly enjoy reading every single one and being part of this important conversation. And finally, if you found this deep dive valuable and you want more empowering, science-backed content to help you thrive in the years to come, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the little notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Here's to your health, your vitality, and to enjoying all the simple, good things in life. I'll see you in the next video.